Good day. Today, me and my group mates will be reporting about Aristotle's model of communication. But before that, let's take an overview or brief autobiography of our famous philosopher Aristotle. So, who is Aristotle? Aristotle is a Greek philosopher who made an important contribution in logic, rhetoric, criticism, and in all sciences. That's why he is best known as the father of biology, father of zoology, and etc. So, one of his famous works is the earliest mass of communication that he called Aristotle's model of communication. So he proposed it before 300 BC. This communication model focuses on the speaker and the speech.
Aristotle model of communication is first introduced by, of course, Aristotle. He was a speech teacher who began to study communication since public speaking was really important at their time. This model is a unique linear model of communication which was created before 300 BC to give more emphasis on public speaking than interpersonal communication. This model is still widely used in our time in lessons, discussions, and speeches.
Aristotle's model of communication is mainly focused on speaker and speech. It can be broadly divided into 5 primary elements: the speaker, speech, occasion, audience, and effect. The first element is the speaker. According to the Aristotle model of communication, the speaker is the main figure in communication. Speaker plays the most important role in the communication, and it is the only one who holds the responsibility to influence his or her audience through speaking or through the use of speech. The second element is the speech. It is a way of communication used by a person or a speaker. It is a medium used by the speaker to express the thought of his or her speech and able for him to persuade the audience. But beforehand, the speech should be organized well by the speaker.
So the third element of Aristotle's model of communication is occasion. When we say occasion, it's a particular time, especially when something happens or happened. Audience. So, this is the fourth element of Aristotle's model of communication. The role of audience is passive. When we say passive, he or she accepting or following what happens or what others do. She or he must ready to be influenced by the speaker's message. Lastly is the effect. It is a result of change of something in speech. So, these are the 5 elements of Aristotle's model of communication. 1 is speaker, 2nd is speech, 3rd is occasion, 4th is audience, and lastly is effect.
Arithmetical triangle. In order to be a good speaker, this strategy must be present to you as a speaker. Aristotle did not use this strategy, but he effectively described this strategy in terms of persuading your audience. Here is the 3 convincing strategies: the logos, pathos, and ethos. Ethos. This is the speaker's credibility and degree of authority. Here are some tips. Use words that suit your target group. Use the perfect word that your audience will understand you. Communicate professionally. Before presenting a statement, you must research a facts in order to avoid fallacies. Make logical connections. Next, logos or logic. The facts, statements, and other elements that comprise the argument. Here are some tips. Ask yourself first with these questions. What is the context all about? What conditions are relevant to this? What are the potential arguments? Is there any evidence that supports your argument? Next, pathos or emotions. It is how the audience reacts to the speaker. Let the emotions of your message be felt by your audience. Here are some tips. Use images or other visual materials to evoke strong emotions. Pay attention to your intonations and tempo. For based on your intonations and tempo and how you speak it and how you deliver that message, that is the emotions of your message.
The topic that I will share to you today is about the Aristotle's mode of communication criticisms. So we know that Aristotle's model of communication were criticized because there are so many key points that are missing. So although this model of Aristotle had first paved the way to more acceptable and complex concepts of the other new models, many scholars have believed that there are few key points that are missing. So the first criticism is there is no concept of feedback. It is one way from the speaker to audience. So it is commonly dubbed as the linear communication model. And the second criticism is about there is no concept of communication failure like noise and barriers. So it is up to the receiver or the audience to comprehend the message of the speaker he or she wants to relay. So the last one criticism is this model can only be used in public speaking. So it is not commonly used in the transactional communication or with feedback. So as of what I have observed, it is a boring type of communication. So example of this is when there is a political campaign where the politicians speak to the public in order to persuade them to vote them as their leader. So that's it.
So there are five primary elements of Aristotle: speaker, speech, occasion, audience, and effect. So for example, Alexander gave brave speech to his soldiers in the field to defeat Persian Empire. So the speaker there is Alexander, while the speech is about his invasion, and the occasion is in the field, while the audience is his soldiers, and the effect is to defeat Persia.